Horrifying end came for Slick Watts in March 2025, but the truth is, his final years were far worse than anyone knew. The Seattle SuperSonics legend died at 73 after battling illness for decades, and his family carried a burden the media never fully revealed. Donald "Slick" Watts wasn't supposed to make it to the NBA. Born in Rolling Fork, Mississippi on July 22, 1951, he got his famous nickname from a childhood head injury that forced him to shave his head completely bald. Back then, that look was shocking and unusual. Watts started his college career at Grandview Junior College before transferring to Xavier University of Louisiana in 1970. At Xavier, he became a star under coach Bob Hopkins. He set school records for points and assists while earning NAIA All-America honors. Watts led the Gold Rush to back-to-back 20-win seasons and NAIA District 30 championships. But when the 1973 NBA draft came around, no team picked Watts. Going undrafted was devastating for any player with professional dreams. Most guys would have given up right there. Watts refused to quit. His college coach Bob Hopkins had a famous cousin, NBA legend Bill Russell. Russell was coaching and running the Seattle SuperSonics at the time. Hopkins called his cousin and asked for a favor. Russell agreed to give Watts a tryout, though he wasn't impressed at first. Russell later admitted he didn't know why he kept Watts on the roster. Watts proved Russell wrong immediately. As a rookie in 1973-74, he came off the bench but led the team with 5.7 assists per game. He finished third in NBA Rookie of the Year voting. His playing time grew quickly, and he helped guide Seattle to their first playoff appearance in 1974-75. In February 1975, Watts recorded his first career triple-double. 2 days later, he set a career high with 9 steals in a single game. The undrafted kid from Mississippi was becoming a league standout through pure hustle and determination. The 1975-76 season changed everything for Watts. He signed a 3-year, $100,000 contract and became a full-time starter. That year, Watts made NBA history by becoming the first player ever to lead the league in both assists and steals in the same season. He averaged 8.1 assists and 3.2 steals per game, while also putting up career highs of 13.0 points and 4.5 rebounds. His defensive skills earned him selection to the NBA All-Defensive First Team, making him the first SuperSonics player to receive that honor. But Watts' impact went far beyond statistics. In 1976, Watts won the J. Walter Kennedy Citizenship Award for outstanding community service. This was remarkable because professional athletes back then didn't have cameras following them around to document charity work for publicity. Watts' community involvement was genuine and legendary. Kids would run up to rub his distinctive bald head for good luck. His unique style made him instantly recognizable. The bald head with a tilted headband was ahead of its time in the 1970s. Sports Illustrated called him the most popular athlete ever to perform in the state of Washington in 1976. His hustle and showmanship on the court, combined with boundless energy, made him a fan favorite. But success in professional sports can disappear as quickly as it arrives. The 1977-78 season brought major changes to Seattle. Bob Hopkins, Watts' former college coach, was hired as the new head coach. However, Hopkins lasted only 22 games before getting fired after a terrible 5-17 start. Lenny Wilkens took over as head coach and immediately made lineup changes. The biggest shock was benching Watts for Dennis Johnson. Watts and Wilkens clashed over playing styles. Wilkens was a measured, controlling point guard who wanted structure. Watts was the complete opposite, a fast and loose player who relied on energy and improvisation. This philosophical difference wasn't just about personality. It represented two completely different approaches to basketball. Wilkens needed discipline and control. Watts brought chaos and excitement. Neither style was wrong, but they couldn't coexist. The conflict led to reduced playing time for Watts under Wilkens. Mid-season during the 1977-78 campaign, Seattle traded their former star to the New Orleans Jazz for a first-round draft pick. Watts played 39 games in New Orleans before moving to Houston for his final NBA season. His statistical output declined significantly during these final stops. Injuries began taking their toll. After the 1978-79 season, Watts retired from the NBA at just 28 years old. The same injuries that ended his career would plague him for decades to come. Watts missed out on Seattle's subsequent success, including their 1979 NBA championship. The team he helped build won it all without him. But instead of staying bitter, Watts made Seattle his permanent home and dedicated himself to serving others. After retiring from basketball, Watts became a physical education teacher in the Seattle School District. He spent nearly 20 years teaching at elementary schools including Dearborn Park, High Point, and Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary. His salary was modest, around $16,000 per year, but Watts found fulfillment in working with kids. He also co-founded Watts Basketball Academy with his son Donald, continuing to mentor young players and teach life lessons about perseverance. Despite his short NBA career, Watts remained hugely popular in Seattle. He was selected to the SuperSonics' 40th anniversary team and regularly attended Seattle Storm and SuperSonics games. The Seattle rap duo Blue Scholars even named a song after him, showing his cultural impact beyond sports. Local media called him an ambassador of Seattle basketball and a generational figure in the Seattle hoops scene. But behind the public appearances and community work, Watts was fighting a private health battle that few people knew about. In 2001, he was hospitalized for 22 days with sarcoidosis, an inflammatory condition that primarily affects the lungs. He lost nearly 50 pounds before his condition improved. This health crisis was a warning sign of worse things to come. Sarcoidosis is a serious, chronic condition that can affect multiple organs. For Watts, it was the beginning of 2 decades of declining health. In April 2021, just 3 months before his 70th birthday, Watts suffered a major stroke. The stroke was devastating and life-changing. He required near full-time care from that point until his death. His son Donald often provided this essential assistance, watching his father's condition deteriorate day by day. The stroke significantly impaired Watts' ability to maintain his personal life and the basketball academy he had built with his son. The man who had once dazzled NBA crowds with his speed and energy could barely function independently. For nearly 4 years after the stroke, Watts battled to maintain some quality of life. His family carried the enormous burden of his care while trying to keep his legacy alive. The media rarely mentioned how sick he really was or how much his family was struggling. On March 15, 2025, Donald "Slick" Watts passed away at age 73. His son Donald Jr. was with him at the end, just as his father had been present for his first breath. The family's statement was heartbreaking, but also showed incredible strength and gratitude. "I cannot be sorry for my loss," Donald Jr. said. "I'm grateful for the time that we had, the time that we shared. The community that I grew up in was a result of the man that he is. The love, the love." The outpouring of tributes after Watts' death revealed how deeply he had impacted Seattle. The Seattle Storm called him a Sonics icon and beloved member of the Seattle community. Former teammate Fred "Downtown Freddie" Brown remembered him as a true man who believed in people. Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell praised Watts' defining qualities of hustle, heart, and tenacity, concluding that he was the best of the best. Former NBA player Spencer Hawes acknowledged his community impact, saying, "Thank you for all you did to improve our community. There was no one like Slick." A memorial service was held in Seattle in April 2025, before his body was transported to Mississippi for burial. The massive attendance showed how much the city loved him. What makes Watts' story so powerful is how he transformed personal struggles into service for others. From going undrafted to becoming an NBA leader, from career-ending injuries to decades of teaching, from devastating health problems to maintaining his community presence, Watts never stopped fighting. His grandson Isaiah, now playing college basketball at Washington State, posted a touching tribute. "I pray every time they see me, they see you. Love you past life. I got us forever." The Watts family basketball legacy continues through multiple generations, but Slick's impact went far beyond sports. He showed that authenticity, perseverance, and genuine care for others can create a legacy that transcends any individual achievement. The media focused on his basketball accomplishments, but the real story was simpler and more profound. Slick Watts was a man who never gave up, never stopped caring, and never stopped serving his community, even when his body was failing him. What's your favorite memory of Slick Watts? Share it in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to honor his incredible legacy.